This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes, and another yes. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Monday, June the 15th. Of 2026, and we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues, well, over there.
With streams so crisp that you can feel the sarcasm in your ear holes. Radio Big.
Oh, yes. Sarcasm in your ear holes. That's what it sounds like over here. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on. Hopefully you had a fantastic weekend as you were doing all the fun stuff that you got to do, for sure. That is the thing. So how have you been? Because it's been a hot minute. I mean, at least it's been since Friday. Unless you and I were doing something else together, but we can talk about that later on, of course. So there you go. A lot of stuff. Oh, I was supposed to play this. Hold on.
Monday is here, and so are we. Welcome to the most intense radio show on the planet. We'll provide the fuel, the fire, and the fun. Your job is to listen carefully and contact us immediately if anyone around you is having more fun than you are. The show starts now.
Okay, so there you go. I always love when they send these things over. Okay, so there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world and the multiverse as we are talking. So let me tell you what we do around here. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. That's just kind of what we do. So if you want to come hang out and take a listen, no problemo there. The reason that we do it in the sequence that we do it in is because you know that if you start off and try to have any level of a meeting by just talking about safety starting off and don't have anything else that's going on inside of the world, you're probably going to lose some people right away. Just kind of the way that it goes. So keep in mind of that. That's the reason behind it. So as we talk on our show, we talk about safety in the news and safety as already previously discussed. If you want to interact with the show, it's easy to do so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging are the options that you'll get, and then we'll move forward. So with that being said, let's kind of do some things around here. Let's go ahead and change some things up for you. I do have my friends waiting from Feature Story News. They're ready to talk about what the hell's going on. So then we'll come back from them and we'll talk about some stuff that's going on inside of the world of the news. And then we'll give you our level of the main story around the mid section. And that's it. That's kind of what we do. So if you're good with this, I'm good with this. We can get moving right away and start talking about the stuff that is going on inside of the world. So let's do that right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News, I'm Rebecca Bunzen in Mumbai. US and Iran have announced a deal to end their conflict. President Donald Trump said oil will flow with the deal, which is set to be officially signed on Friday in Switzerland. Iran's deputy foreign minister confirmed on state TV that a deal had been finalized. The conflict started on the 28th of February when the US and Israel launched strikes on Iran. Alistair D'Souza reports from Washington.
Trump posting on social media saying the deal with Iran is now complete, quote, "Congratulations to all." A formal signing ceremony is scheduled for June 19th in Switzerland. Trump says that he's immediately lifting the U.S. naval blockade on Iranian ports, telling ships around the world to, quote, "Start your engines and let the oil flow." Now, under the terms of the agreement, Iran will begin clearing mines from the strait over the next 30 days, allowing oil tankers back through toll-free. Questions, though, remain on how long the mine clearing would take, with some observers saying that it's really not easy as it may sound. Now, Iran has warned that this MOU does not mean Tehran trusts its so-called enemy. Tehran has threatened measures if there are any kind of breaches. Now, with the agreement in place, mediators will facilitate a series of meetings to hammer out details on key issues. If getting here was hard, the next phase of negotiations over the next 2 months is expected to prove contentious as well, with questions really remaining on what will exactly happen to Iran's nuclear program, sanctions relief, and Tehran's long-term demands on the Strait of Hormuz.
Shares surged in Asia and crude oil prices fell on the announcement. Pakistan's Prime Minister says the peace deal applies to military operations on all fronts, including in Lebanon. Hira Mustafa has more from Islamabad on Pakistan's role in the negotiations.
Islamabad played a pivotal role in bridging the gap between the warring parties and helping secure the peace deal. Now, what we understand is that the country's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, taking to the social media platform X, mentioned that once the peace deal is achieved, it would be followed by the technical level talks this week. We do not know yet where these technical level negotiations are going to take place, but what we understand is that Pakistan's role doesn't end here.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a 2-day visit to Slovakia, marking the first trip by an Indian leader to the country in nearly 3 decades. It comes ahead of his participation in the G7 summit in France, where he is expected to meet US President Donald Trump. Ishan Garg tells us more from New Delhi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is holding talks with Slovakian leaders with a focus on expanding cooperation in automobile and railway manufacturing. India is also looking to deepen its footprint in Central Europe as it seeks to diversify supply chains and strengthen strategic partnership within the European Union.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, with more today on the action by the Royal Navy seizing a Russian vessel that is part of Vladimir Putin's shadow fleet, moving sanctioned oil around the world. There are more than 700 vessels in that fleet, and the British Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has promised action against them as increasing numbers have sailed in UK waters.
I think the real question here is why didn't they do it earlier? There really should be more aggressive action.
Stephanie Baker is with Bloomberg News and author of Punishing Putin, Inside the Global Economic War to Bring Down Russia.
This is the first time since, as you mentioned, in March, Keir Starmer outlined that they had discovered that they had a legal basis to actually board and detain ships in violation of sanctions law. We expected some action. I think there had been some speculation that there was a Russian frigate protecting some of the vessels going through the English Channel. But I have long argued that this is a real environmental risk, that a lot of these shadow fleet vessels are traveling through the English Channel with very dodgy insurance. We don't know if there were to be some accident or spill, if there would be insurance backing that up, or if that would be the UK taxpayer on the hook for it.
The seized vessel, the Smirtos, will now be held off the coast of southwest England as investigations continue. Moscow says the action is illegal and borders on piracy. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
Here's the main news again. US and Iran have announced a deal to end their conflict. The deal is due to be officially signed on Friday in Switzerland. Shares surged in Asia and crude oil prices fell on the announcement. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a 2-day visit to Slovakia ahead of his participation in the G7 summit in France. And that is the latest feature story news. Rebecca Bundin reporting.
We're going to take a little break, but don't worry, we'll be right back. Unless we win the lottery during the break, then all bets are off.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion. The book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month,
and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN. Another great hour of
safety never sounded so terrible.
Rated R Safety Show.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Oh, some infiltration in Radio Big has never hurt in regards of what we're doing around here. That is for sure, as we talk, hang out, and do all the fun stuff that we get to do. So let's continue talking right away about some things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because this is kind of what we do around here. No doubt about that one. So let's start talking about some of the things that have happened over the weekend. Where do you want to start? Because there just seems to be so many of them in regards of the things. Some people were super excited about the Knicks winning the championship over the weekend. Did you hear about that? Take a listen to this.
Anunoby, the rebound. It's over. It's over. Knicks fans, this is not a dream. Your long, long wait has ended. Go ahead and cry. After 53 years, the Knicks are finally NBA champions once again.
So, were you crying over the weekend? I guess it should be the question of what was going on. Some people are super excited about everything going on. So, there you go. So, a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's just kind of how we do our things. No doubt about that. Oh, I know, sports. So, talking about sports for a moment, did you know there was a sporting event last night? No, like seriously, did you know there was a sporting event last night? All over CBS or Paramount. So there you go. A lot of stuff happening yesterday. No doubt about that. So I don't know. It was a kind of a weird world out there over the weekend. I'm just taking a look around. If you did watch some of the stuff, there was a rain delay yesterday with the UFC event taking place at the White House. It wasn't a bad event overall. It was just weird. A lot of it felt weird, but whatever. Let's continue talking, because I'm not going to go into a lot of the stuff of what the hell happened with the Knicks stuff. I mean, we already talked about it, so what do we need to break down here? Unless you want like trophy stuff. But I don't think we're going to do that. Okay, so let's talk about some of the main news stories that are going to go on, because that is what we're here to talk about. Some of the main story stuff that happened over the weekend. So Biden appointed judge orders Trump to restore... Biden appointed judge orders Trump to restore slavery climate change references at national parks. So did you hear about this? A federal judge appointed by during the Biden administration has ordered that Trump's administration to restore exhibit signs and educational material that were removed from national parks under President Trump's executive orders aimed to eliminating what his administration called political bias or anti-American interpretations of history. The dispute centers around Trump's March 2025 executive order restoring the truth and sanity to American history, which directed the federal agencies to remove content that officials believed unfairly portrayed America's or promoted ideological viewpoints. Following the order, Interior Secretary Doug Burgum oversaw the removal of exhibits and displays dealing with topics such as slavery, climate change, labor history, and LGBTQ-related imagery, several national parks and history sites. U.S. District Judge Angel Kelly ruled that the administration must restore the materials while legal challenges proceed, arguing the removal from them could amount to rewriting or sanitizing history. The judge ordered the Interior Department to provide weekly updates of its progress of restoring the information. So what do you think here? It's kind of interesting. I mean, let's just not lie here of what it is, because it definitely sounds a little weird as we are talking. So, I don't know. It's just interesting times. One set of folks does one thing, one set of folks does another thing, and there you go. There you go. Take a listen to this one. A 21-year-old Brazilian woman, Maria Endura Rodrigues de Freitas, died after being thrown from a bridge during a bungee jumping event when she was apparently not attached to a safety rope. Video shows workers carrying her over the edge of the bridge, releasing her as bystanders began shouting, "The rope, the rope." Realizing that something had gone wrong, she fell 130 feet to her death. Authorities arrested 6 people, including the event workers. Investigators say that the company may not have been authorized to operate the site. Officials believe that the failure to properly secure the equipment and conduct a final safety check led to the tragedy. Just before the jump, Rodrigues de Freitas posted a photo on Instagram joking, "Who was crazy person who let me jump off a bridge?" The recent college graduate and fitness instructor was remembered by friends, families, and co-workers as energetic, caring, and full of plans for the future. So there you go. Some things to think about. Crazy times. I mean, I don't know. Like, the jump roping thing's always been interesting to me because I've always seen it from different aspects. Of course, you see the ones where people jump into the void, but you see the ones where people are jumping over water. Then you see the ones where people jump into where the giant cushion is, in regards to what's going on. So, I mean, interesting times, no doubt about that whatsoever. What else do we got going on? Cleveland Cavaliers star James Harden was arrested early Saturday morning in Houston on a misdemeanor charge of unlawfully carrying a weapon in a motor vehicle. According to the documents, the police found the handgun in plain view that was not secured into a holster. Harden was booked shortly before 5 a.m., posted a $100 bond, and was released. His arraignment is scheduled for June the 22nd. Reports indicate that Harden had been out with friends at a Houston hookah lounge before the incident. The Cavaliers released a statement saying that they were aware of the arrest and are gathering information and the contact with Harden and his representatives. The 11-time All-Star recently completed his 17th NBA season and faces the decision on a $42.3 million play option for next season. Harden has expressed interest in remaining with the Cleveland after the team playoff run ended in the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah, I think that if I have an option to play for one more season for $42.3 million, I think that we kind of all know how the decision's going to go.
Just a wild guess.
Is what I'm going to say there. No doubt about that one. So, I mean, you did hear that. So, yeah, we did focus on the money thing for a moment, $42.3 million. Did you hear? It was a $100 bond, not $1,000, not $100,000, $100. Something tells me if somebody's sitting on a $42.3 million ordeal on where they might get paid that kind of money, the $100 was not much of a struggle. I'm just saying. Let's continue talking about some other stuff. 12 people were killed yesterday morning when skydiving aircraft crashed at the moment after a takeoff from Butler Memorial Airport in Missouri. Authorities say that the Pacific Aerospace P-750 departed around 11:30 a.m., but was unable to gain enough altitude, and the pilot reportedly attempted to turn towards a nearby highway or an emergency landing, but the plane crashed and burst into flames. The 11 victims, including the pilot and 11 skydivers associated with Skydive Kansas City. Officials said that 9 of the jumpers were experienced skydivers, while 2 were participating in tandem jumps. No identities have been released. Emergency crews quickly extinguished the fire, but all 12 people on board died. Witnesses included family members of some watched the tragedy unfold on the ground. One woman reportedly was scheduled to be on the flight but did not board. The Federal Aviation Administration and National Transportation Safety Board have launched an investigation, with the NTSB leading the inquiry. The aircraft was built in 2010 and is commonly used for skydiving operations and can carry up to 17 parachutists. Yes, I did say parachutist. So there you go. So what do you think? I mean, it's interesting times on how normal operations can go wrong. I know that sometimes we have a hard time believing that. But think about it for a moment. You never know what's going to happen. So there you go. A lot of strange stuff. Okay, I guess we should talk about this one too as we are moving forward and talking a little bit about everything. Last night, the Carolina Hurricanes beat the Vegas Golden Knights to win 3-0 to win the Stanley Cup. Take a listen.
And they're going to clinch it appropriately with a total team effort and a shutout. The Carolina Hurricanes have won the Stanley Cup for the second time.
Okay, so there you go. There's your sports stuff, because you know people get all excited about this. So there you go. There you go. A lot of stuff going on. No doubt about that as we are talking. Let me see here, because I don't want to do the wrong thing here. I definitely want to do the right thing as we are hanging out and talking a little bit about everything. Where is this? Because I always have such a hard time on Mondays when we're going to talk about some of the stuff that we're going to talk about. And then I kind of start going into these giant loops in my head of what the hell's going on. So why don't we go ahead and do this, because people ask me about this information. So we're just going to do it right now.
The top spot at the box office this weekend. At the box office. The box office roundup.
The weekend box office.
At the box office this weekend.
Okay, so let's talk about the box office, because some people seem to care way too much about that. So let's go 10 to 1, 1 to 10, if you don't mind. At number 10 was The Breadwinner with $1.5 million. At number 9 was Stop That Train, $2 million. At number 8 was The Furious with $2.8 million. At number 7 was Michael with $4.1 million. At number 6 was Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu with $4.7 million. At number 5 was Masters of the Universe. They should have just called the movie He-Man with $8.7 million. At number 4 was Backrooms with $11.3 million. Last week's number 1 is now number 3. That was Scary Movie with $14.5 million. And number 2 was Obsession with $19 million. That one seems to be getting more and more popular as the weeks go by. And in case you had any doubt whatsoever, coming in at the number 1 spot, Steven Spielberg's latest space alien picture, Disclosure Day, is the number 1 movie in North America, earning $44 million. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there as we are talking. Now, when we were just talking about this, you did hear me reference Michael. Michael's the Michael Jackson movie that came out a little bit ago, but it's still something that is readily available for you if you're interested, of course. So with that being said, let me tell you something about it. The biopic has become the highest grossing music biopic in history, earning $911.9 million worldwide, surpassing Bohemian Rhapsody at $910.9 million global total, starring Jafar Jackson as his famous uncle Michael Jackson. The film has brought $358.6 million domestically and $553.3 million internationally. With the release in Japan, the industry observers could believe that it could cross $1 billion mark worldwide. The director and it was written by John Logan. The movie has also set several box office records, including the biggest opening weekend ever for a music biopic and the highest grossing biographical film in multiple international markets. So a lot of stuff going on with that one, if you're so encouraged to take a look around at it. Now, let me tell you this portion. That movie last week also got released on the Streamer services. So I don't know if they're accounting any of that into this, but it does make you look at a lot of stuff. Now, I will tell you, I did watch it. I didn't go to the theater to see it, but I did see it on on the Ghetto streamer services. And man, it was not a bad little movie. And there are certain portions, depending on how familiar you are with Michael Jackson, of course, where you might get convinced for a moment there or two that the nephew, who is playing him, of course, is actually Michael, because he's that good at certain points. So there you go. So let's continue talking about some other stuff that are going on inside of the world, because that's what we do. So a Maryland woman says that a sandwich from Jersey Mike's Subs landed her in the hospital after she allegedly discovered a sharp plastic while eating the Italian sub. The woman who posted about the incident on TikTok claimed that she felt something unusual while choosing and found a piece of plastic lodged into her tonsils. She says the doctor performed an x-ray and a CT scan, and that multiple IV attempts before the object was removed. Though she ultimately swallowed it, according to the Post, she contacted the restaurant to alert them about the issue and offered to provide hospital paperwork and the remaining of the sandwich, or the remainder of the sandwich. She claims that the store did not take her concern seriously and says they was unable to get a response from the company's corporate office. The video quickly gained hundreds of thousands of views, and many commenters expressing the shock and encouraging her to contact the attorney, the media, and consumers protection agencies. No lawsuit has been filed, and the Jersey Mike's had not publicly responded yet. She ordered an Italian sub and got a side of Home Depot. It's definitely what it sounds like. And so that's not Jersey fresh beans when they said crunchy toppings. And so the sub was so fresh, it was still under construction, and nothing says lunch like complimentary CT scan with it. So there you go. I don't know. So let me tell you this one, because this one's coming out of New Hampshire, and I thought it was so interesting when I heard about this one.
Duh.
New Hampshire man is facing multiple criminal charges after a woman accused him of holding her against her will, forcing her into marriage and injuring her during what she described as a satanic ritual. Police say the 47-year-old Daniel Outlet outside of an Olive Garden after the woman's mother tracked her cell phone to the restaurant and alerted authorities. Officers reportedly found a woman upset and invisible injuries. According to the court documents, the woman told the investigators that she was threatened into traveling from Pennsylvania to New Hampshire to force to marry Daniel. Held her in a trailer against her will and threatened her with violence if she attempted to leave. So she also allegedly she was forced to drive at gunpoint and suffered a hand injury involving a box cutter during a ritual. Investigators later reported the finding of a satanic Bible in Daniel's vehicle. And Daniel has been charged with domestic violence, obstruction and possession of a deadly weapon. He has denied the allegations and maintains that he is not a violent person. The case remains under investigation in regards of what's going on. Yeah, it gets weirder and weirder. Anyways, 32 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's get into our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so some main story time as we are hanging out and doing our thing, because that's kind of what we do. No doubt about that. So if you take a look at your out your window today, it's June 15th, and cast your gaze towards the west coast of the United States for a moment, you will see a massive gathering taking place from today through the 17th. It is the capital city of the construct. It's open for business. And I'm not going to name organizations or little jamborees, but you know who they are. They are the gatekeepers. They are the apex of the cartel. Right now, thousands of people are packed in sterile, air-conditioned convention center ballrooms, breathing recycled air, entirely disconnected from the operational reality of the frontline workers. And they're participating in the ultimate high-entropy circle jerk, if I can say it that way. In the language of consciousness and reality, its high-entropy system is his system is the one driven by fear, control, and absolute disorder marked by the structure. That is exactly what this massive credentialing machine is. They are printing a little piece of paper, handing out shiny new badges, and celebrating the fact that you have successfully added 50 new layers of bureaucratic noise between the boardroom and the actual job sites. And they are selling you the map of desperately trying to convince you that that it is the territory. That's exactly what happens. But let me ask you one question. What is the absolute point of the whole thing? If you peel back the layers of simulation and you see what it truly is, this isn't protecting the worker on the blue line. This is the black iron prison, the holographic overlay of the construct built entirely to enforce compliance and keep people inside of the system asleep. They feed you the checklist, a new policy, a new acronym, as you get to feel the urgent and busy and that distraction by design. The system wants you to be focused on the paperwork so you never look around and see the worker struggling to survive the gap between the work is imagined and the work is done. When you look at this in the West Coast Convention through the lens of the true operational combat, it is noting more than organizational despair. This cartel wants you to trap you into this pattern. It's the classical fluid dynamic, ever-changing reality of the frontline risk that they try to dissect it like a corpse, locking it into a systemic uselessness. But true safety, true presence requires formless form. It requires you to act like water, adapting to the immersive context of the worker, throwing away the dead patterns and hacking away from the unessentials. The cartel hates formlessness because they can't monetize it. You can't sell a certification for authentic human connection. I'm just saying that for a minute. So, and that brings me to the real tragedy this week. Let's talk about certain individuals out there in the industry. I won't use names here, but if you've been around the block, you know them. There's the guys who build the entire brand of being, what is it? The scholar in the room, the dork, the nerd, the new philosophy of safety. For years, the guy stood on the stages and claimed the ultimate rebel, that he was the anti-establishment voice. He told you that he was fighting the good fight against bureaucracy, standing up for the workers and pushing back against the bloated credentialing machines. But what happens when you threaten the simulation? The simulation just doesn't fight you. It adapts. It mutates. The system rebrands your rebellion and figures out a way to monetize it. So the moment that the cartel realized that this rebel had an audience, they didn't crush him. They picked up the phone, they invited him to the VIP lounge, and they offered him a seat for validation at the table. A new shiny credential and a corporate gold star. What did the great anti-establishment rebel do? He folded. And I mean, he completely folded. The moment the credentialing machine finished flashed its teeth and offered him a piece of the pie, he was perfectly willing to change everything. He changed his values, changed his tune, and he looked at it as the audience in the essential said, hey, it's time for me to follow along. It's heartbreaking if you really think about it, but it's the ultimate proof of how the construct operates. When a guy trades his core values for approval of bureaucracy, he ceases to be a broadcaster of the signal. He becomes just another signal absorber. He becomes a copy of a copy of a copy, stripped all the authenticity away and parroting the very corporate noise that he used to rally against. He traded the raw, uncompromising truth of the blue line for the illusion of expertise. He fell for the oldest trick in the black iron prison, the illusion that if you just get enough letters after your name, you finally belong. But all the credentialing in the world won't help you if you're asking the wrong questions and ignoring the reality of the people doing the work. He chose the safety of the classical mess over the aliveness of the real world. He chose high entropy over the low entropy truth. That's a sad story there.
Duh.
So let them have their conversations and let them hand out their laminated certificates and pat each other on the back while the real world happens in the word, and in the mud, and in the truncheons, and on the scaffolding. And we are not here to play their game. We are here to drop the pipe bomb. of the whole performative theater. So we are here to hack away the unessential, strip out the corporate jargon, and directly look at pure, unfiltered signal. So we refuse to sleep in the simulation. So booth hits you hard. If the booth hits you hard, we're going to take a break for a moment because I know that some people will be upset. And our phone lines are still operational, so you're more than welcome on calling in if you want to at callinradio.com. But man, what a crazy time. I look at this and go, the credentialing machine has so much more power than what people think sometimes, that it amazes me on what people are willing to do just the moment that you get the phone call of, hey, we're going to buy you off. Are you willing to come?
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. You've seen the loop. You've felt the shift. The script doesn't fit anymore, and neither do you. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct is the third and final signal in the trilogy from J. Allen, Ph.D. And this time, It's not about waking up. It's about what you do once you're awake. The system didn't break. It just stopped pretending to hold you. And now it's blinking, rebranding presence, packaging resistance, and calling it progress. This book isn't a guide. It's a transmission. It doesn't teach the system how to evolve. It shows you how to stop performing for it. You'll see what happens when awareness becomes responsibility, when audits don't listen, and when leadership becomes a loop. But if you've made it this far, you're not here to be managed. You're here to carry signal. Safety Transmission, The Collapse of the Construct. Now available in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by J. Allen, Ph.D. Because if it couldn't hold your signal, it was never real to begin with.
Pop quiz, hotshot. During a heat wave, what's more important, air conditioning or air guitar?
Is it air conditioning?
Air guitar. The answer is always air guitar.
Okay. Here we are, 46 minutes past the top of the hour, as you and I are hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. No doubt about that. So there you go. So this song right here, as we are hanging out, this is Cabrio with The Other Side. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. In case if you were wondering, a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So there you go. There you go. A lot of stuff going on real quick. So here we go. We would like to thank Cabrio for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. No doubt about that. Anyways, let's start talking about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now and that healing is possible. So, things can get better. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. Once you get there, there's going to be information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. Going to tell you, you go to that website, it can change a lot of things for you. No doubt about that. So there you go. There you go. So a lot of stuff going on. So what do you think? So a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So there you go. I don't know. So with that being said, let's continue talking about some other stuff that is going on inside of the world of the multiverse. Let's see, what's today? Today's the 15th, so we're weeks away now. Just a few weeks away from our event that is going on that we are calling Reality Shift. It's an observational symposium taking place here in good old Orlando. Yes, good old Orlando, Florida, if you're interested in coming out, hanging out with us, that's for sure. So, yes, the observational symposium. We will be hanging out that day. It's Monday, July the 13th. Yes, a lot of stuff will be going on as we are hanging out. If you want to come and hang out, here's what we're going to be doing that day. We'll be talking about the world of human and organizational performance. We'll be talking about behavior-based safety, and we'll be talking about signal. We'll also watch a documentary while there, because we're doing this inside of a movie theater. This is definitely not a virtual event, just FYI. This is a in-person event taking place here in Orlando. It's on a Monday. That way you can hang out over the weekend in Orlando if you so desire to do so. And then outside of that, let's do this. Let's talk about this part. If you scan the QR code that's on the screen, or if you go to safetyfm.io, you can find out more information. Just a one-dayer right here in Orlando, having a good time, hanging out, doing our thing. So safetyfm.io or scan the QR code. By the way, just in case you do not know this, we are visual radio now on the podcast catcher, at least if you're using Apple and some of the other ones out there. So just a little FYI action. Anyways, with that being said, we are 50 minutes in, so why don't we go ahead and do this real quick? Why don't we bring John Small in and let him tell us about the Motivation Minute?
Courtesy of Jay'sCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Christine. Muhammad Ali said, "Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth." I know everybody's different, but personally, I actually enjoy serving others, sometimes to my detriment. I've said yes to a few too many things from time to time. Last weekend, I had 7 events. Now, most of them were spaced enough to make it all work, but I had one event that ended at 3 p.m. and the next one started at 3:45 p.m. I had plenty of time to wrap up and drive the few miles needed to be there early for the next event, but that's not how life worked out. The 3 p.m. event, which I've done for about a decade, ended late for the first time ever. They had a computer glitch. I wrapped up as much as I could, then I finally had to slip out at about 3:20. I arrived at the next event with 2 minutes to spare. It was super close, but I still walked on stage right on time. The Motivation Minute. This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Parts of the central United States faced severe weather threats as forecasters warned of damaging winds, hail, and localized flooding.
Emergency managers urged residents to monitor conditions as storms moved across several states. Utility crews and local agencies remained ready for possible disruptions. Kyle Norris reporting.
Swiss voters rejected a proposal to cap population growth, preserving current policies and avoiding a potential clash with European partners.
Election officials reported the measure failed to gain enough public support nationwide. Government leaders said the outcome provides stability for future relations and planning. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Court actions and policy disputes continue to shape debate in Washington as several high-profile legal matters move forward.
Judges reviewed challenges involving federal authority and administrative decisions in separate cases. The rulings could influence future government actions and enforcement efforts. Kevin Sanders reporting.
New drone attacks deep inside Russia underscored the grinding war in Ukraine as leaders renewed diplomatic contacts ahead of major talks.
Russian authorities reported deaths and damage following Ukrainian strikes on key sites. Separate calls involving national leaders focused on possible steps toward reducing hostilities. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Taiwan expanded efforts against suspected espionage activities, highlighting growing security concerns as relations with mainland China remain strained.
Officials launched new measures aimed at identifying and reporting suspected intelligence threats. The move reflects broader efforts to strengthen security and public awareness. Gary Beck reporting.
Federal officials continue preparations for international meetings as major foreign policy issues and security concerns remained high on the national agenda.
Senior leaders held discussions with allies before a series of diplomatic gatherings. Several conflicts overseas are expected to dominate upcoming talks and negotiations. Jessica Oakley reporting.
Fresh strikes in Lebanon have rattled delicate diplomacy, raising fears that a widening regional conflict could upset emerging peace efforts.
Israeli forces hit targets near Beirut after cross-border attacks linked to Hezbollah. Iranian officials warned of a response while negotiators pressed ahead with ceasefire discussions. Chris Anderson reporting.
Transportation and travel agencies reported heavy seasonal demand as millions of Americans began summer trips across the country.
Airports and highways experienced increased traffic while officials monitored safety conditions closely. Travelers were advised to allow extra time and expect periodic delays. Liam White reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Oh, some infiltration in Radio Big. is never a bad thing. So let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 1860, the first White House settlement in Idaho. Or, excuse me, the first white settlement in Idaho, not a White House. I don't know where I added the extra thing there. In 1924, Ford Motor Company manufactures its 10th million automobile. And in 1989, Ronald Reagan is knighted by Queen Elizabeth. So there you go. Let's talk about some celebrity birthdays going on today. Russell Hitchcock turned 77. Steve Walsh, 75. Jim Belushi, 72. Julie Haggerty, 71. Wage Boggs, 68. Helen Hunt, 63. Courtney Cox, 62. Ice Cube, 57. Leah Remini turns 56. And Neil Patrick Harris, well, he turns 53 today. So there you go. There's some birthdays for you. If you want to talk about, let's see, some things you ought to know, let's talk about that. Here are Friday's winning Mega Million numbers. They were the number 9, 17, 24, 39, 51, and the Mega Ball was 3. The jackpot was $413 million. Here's Saturday's winning Powerball numbers. The jackpot was $258 million. 3, 13, 44, 50, 53. Powerball was 2. Power Play was 4. And since there was no jackpot winner, tonight's jackpot climbs to $269 million. Let's see. Denny Hamlin won yesterday's Great American Getaway at 400 NASCAR race from Pocono Raceway. So there you go. Also, some other news. Mitch McConnell has been hospitalized again. The 84-year-old Kentucky senator was admitted to the hospital yesterday morning, according to the spokesperson, Stephanie Penn, who said McDonald is receiving excellent care. No details were provided about the reason of the hospitalization, but the news comes just 4 months after McConnell spent more than a week in the hospital for what was described as like flu symptoms. He was scheduled. He was discharged in February and then returned home, where doctors advised him to work remotely while recovering. So there you go. What else? Let's do this one real quick. President Trump celebrated his birthday at UFC Freedom 250 last night, getting a high-profile fight that he had hoped for. Trump arrived at the White House South Lawn alongside UFC President Dana White to a fanfare of trumpets. Before Zach Brown band performed the Star Spangled Banner, a dramatic 12-jet flyover followed by AC/DC's Thunderstruck blasted over the event. Despite the weather concerns that caused delays, the festivities went ahead with members of the Trump inner circle gathering cage side for one of the USC's most anticipated cards. So there you go. Some things that were going on there for sure. Okay, so that's it. That's going to sum up our time together at the top of the hour. I will be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. If you don't want to go over there, that's perfectly fine. You can hang out here with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. So there you go. If I can't leave you with some words of wisdom for today, one day you'll realize the good old days are happening right now. Right now. And then if you need some advice for today, I got this for you. Photograph serial numbers on expensive electronics. It's going to help you in the long run. I'm going to tell you that. Speaking from a facto, just in case there. So there you go. Anyways, that's it. That's going to sum it up for you. So anyways, thank you for hanging out. Thanks for letting me be part of your morning here. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.